Hey everyone, it's Dion here with Racers360. Today we're going to be talking about the top 3 mistakes that we see drivers make at Sebring International Raceway. We're going to include one little nugget as well to help you roll in more speed through turn 17. So let's get right into it. So we're here at the exit of turn 1. One of the most consistent mistakes that we see at Sebring International Raceway is an too early of an apex into turn 3. So we're on board with myself driving in the IMSA GT class in the GT3 car. And what I want to really highlight here is as we're getting ready to set up for turn 3 is, let's break this down slow motion. Look how late my apex comes. Not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. Only here at the very end of this apex curve, that is where the initial apex is, and that is where you should be getting back to your initial throttle application. So if you feel like you're apexing any earlier, or if you feel like you're picking up the throttle any earlier, we should work on fixing that, because what this allows us to do is at this apex, by being so slow with our hands, it gets the car more rotated, so we're looking down the road, which means that we can get back to significant throttle at the exit of turn 3. If you apex too early, most of the time you'll be looking this direction right now, which means you won't be able to get back to full throttle before we get to turn 4 or turn 5. So if you feel like you're not able to get back to full throttle out of 3, we have a ton of steering input, you've likely apexed too early, or you picked up the throttle too early. So the next most common mistake that we see revolves around turn 7. So turn 7, most of the mistakes we see actually come from too much entry speed, or once again, too early to throttle. So we can see here, we've got still a lot of brakes in the car, and we don't want to touch the throttle until we're ready to unwind the steering wheel. So slowing it down, still braking, still braking, still braking. Right now, you can see my hands ever so slightly start to open. That's where the initial throttle application comes, and you want to be back to full throttle somewhat in this range. So what happens by picking up that throttle too early, you're going to induce understeer into the car, and you're going to have too much steering input here. You're not going to be able to get back to full throttle. And turn 7 here, rather be a couple miles an hour slower from the turn into the apex so that you can get back to full throttle right about here, and that way you'll be faster all the way to turn 10. Oftentimes, turn 7, we feel so slow, but it's okay. It's meant to feel slow. It's an exit speed corner. Focus on the exit. So the third mistake that we most frequently see comes in the middle to the end of turn 17. Turn 17 is really wide. It's hard to know where to place the car. What we often see drivers doing, and this is going to be a little bit hard to see here, but we can see the yellow lines here. The bridge is right here in 17. There's 2 yellow lines. We often see drivers placing the car where their right side tire is on that inside yellow line or even closer to the wall. It's already bumpier on this racetrack, but it gets even bumpier when you run that narrow in. And what you're going to see is it doesn't allow you to get back to full throttle as early as you could by running a little bit wider. So notice here, in the middle of 17, I place the car pretty wide, and I don't touch the throttle until I start to approach the bridge. But notice here, if you were to be much narrow in, if your car was right about here, notice how, if you're running there, how much tighter the second half of the corner has to be, right? If you're tighter in, you're going to have to turn more through and under the bridge. By being wider, I've done 2 things. One, I roll more entry speed. I have the car push me wider, but then what that also does is allows me to set up better as we approach the bridge so that I can be back to full throttle right about under the bridge, and then run wider through the exit here. I'm not trying to apex the grass here, letting the car be free all the way out to the exit. So one small little nugget as well that'll help you roll a little bit more speed into turn 17. Focus on where you're picking up that last downshift. Most cars, we're going to be downshifting 2 or 3 times into 17. The first downshift should come about here. The second downshift should come about here if you've got 3 downshifts. If you only do 2 downshifts, do your first one before the wall. But to help you roll in more entry speed, don't do your last downshift until after that apex wall. I come in downshift. My last downshift only comes right about here. See how much further away from the wall I am? I'm through there. And by saving that last downshift, you're going to naturally roll a little bit more entry speed. So that's been our top 3 mistakes at Sebring International Raceway. Stay tuned. Watch a flyer with me so you can get a feel for how we drive it. And if you're looking for personalized coaching on how you can improve at Sebring in any car or actually at any track, visit Racers360.com where you can upload your video from any camera or data with that video from any data system. And the best coaches in the world will give you a personalized coaching video just like this one for $99. We've had customers save over 1.5 seconds on lap time on average. You're going to love it or you'll get your money back. Visit Racers360.com to learn more.